Get away! Come on!
Yakuza is an action-adventure video game developed and published by SEGA for the PS4. It's been out in Japan since about December last year.
Yeah.
It's coming out on June the 25th over here in the rest of the world.
You said Yakuza.
What?
It's Judgment.
Did I call it Yakuza?
You did. Start again if you
All the
want.
same, innit?
I want to keep going. It's actually Judgment. It's a game called Judgment.
Okay.
Okay. Which is, what is it? How is it related to the Yakuza series then, guys?
Spin-off.
Yeah, standalone in the same district as
Yeah.
the Yakuza.
The exact same map.
There we go.
Okay. So,
Almost.
in a way,
Look at him, yeah.
Joking.
He's not editing this video. He doesn't give a shit, does he?
so you guys have been playing this at least the first few hours, which you're allowed to talk about. So explain the embargo, Jake. What's the embargo situation on this?
Okay, so the full review embargo's out on the 20th of June, but because the game's so vast, obviously, copies have been sent out early, and we can talk about Chapter 1, general plot and stuff like the gameplay and things like that, but as you can imagine, a game that's so plot-heavy, you don't want to go around spoiling the whole thing before it's out, because it's narrative-driven.
Yeah.
So we can talk about basically the mechanics of the game, and Chapter 1, which is still a good few hours.
Good chunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you spend ages in the bloody arcades. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like 20 hours you could spend in it.
So how have you been enjoying it so far?
I've got to say, yeah, this is now, obviously, having me and Liam here is pretty interesting because Liam is like Yakuza Sensei.
Yeah.
He's done everything. And I played Yakuza Kiwami, and I found it a little bit clunky and just a bit, and then I got Kiwami 2 on PC. It ran better, but then I couldn't help but think I'm missing something here. So this being a standalone game where it's different characters and stuff like that, and even though the map's the same, which I didn't even know.
Yeah. Doesn't have the Yakuza name in it, right, Mike?
That's it, yeah, that's right. That's right, Mike. And yeah, there's a detective element as well. And you know what? Like, when's the last time you play a game when you're a detective? And I don't mean a superhero with detective senses, Batman, or a mutant with detective senses, Witcher.
A superhero who has the magical ability to press L1 and see all the ghostly things
so
that
I
happen.
wanted to see like a game with more detective features than special vision that could see blood trails.
Bit more like LA Noire.
Exactly, and this is kind of what I got from it. Like, it's got all this kind of wackiness that the Yakuza series is famed for. Like, you've got a drone that's got a pigeon's head attached to it. That
Sure.
Fly around because it tricks people.
I was going to ask about that. Are there any drones with a pigeon's head on?
Yeah. And then you've got these detective elements. So like the game goes into first person, and you're assessing areas, looking for like points of entry in buildings, for example. But then there's like interrogation parts where you're asking questions. You've got a certain limit of questions you can ask to figure out, like, I don't know, where were you at this certain time, or did you kill him or not, which is actually quite a good thing to find out.
Did you kill him or not?
Go straight for
Certainly catch them off guard, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. See if they expect that. So you build a case. There's like case files, and I'm assuming that you can miss out on things. I'm trying to, obviously, as you can imagine, like any good detective, not miss stuff. But I'm wondering if you can play the game and maybe not catch every bit of evidence.
Here's what I want to know: are there any rules to how many times you can ask, "Did you kill him or not?" Because you could, you could try and do it straight away. I mean, in real life as well, I guess. Like, can a cop just go?
Are you asking for interrogation techniques?
I think so. But like, imagine like a police thing. If you're just like, right, did you kill him or not?
Yeah.
No. Okay. You go on to some
I'll be
other
back
stuff.
in 20 minutes.
Well, yeah, exactly. You have a coffee. Think about where you were on the night of whatever, and then you come back. Listen. Did you kill him?
Well,
because it
could
be an effective.
A bit like that. I don't know, but yeah,
that's true. Yeah, and that was really bad.
It
wasn't
was a lot of that. Yeah.
So maybe it should.
Yeah. So you're not like that. So you're one of them lawyers that defends people rather than prosecutes them. So certainly, well, I say you're a lawyer. You've been disbarred, but.
Of course you have.
Yeah, so now you kind of
you haven't been disbarred. You left for dishonour.
Fucking hell,
exactly,
Jake.
That's how it works. It's a lot of dishonour.
You could be a lawyer if you wanted to, the main character, but he feels like he's failed in his eyes at his job, so he becomes a private detective instead.
He has a detective agency, which is very like slapdash.
I don't have the honour to be a lawyer.
Yeah,
I think I'll be a private detective.
That is actually what happens.
It's like the sort of like prologue to the game sets. So he's called Yagami, and it sets him up as like he's this hotshot lawyer. He can win a defense case when there's like a 1% chance of winning it.
Why are all lawyers hotshot lawyers though? Or like in TV and stuff? Why? Where are like the average lawyers?
Probably.
Better Call Saul,
yeah, and just things happen around, but it's quite rare. But yeah, Liam was right. Like 99% of the cases or whatever, end in a prosecution.
Yeah.
But this guy can get him out, right?
So you guys are talking an awful lot about lawyer stuff now, but
I can see a lot of law terminology being thrown around.
What is the bulk of the gameplay though? Is it a lot of running around and fighting and stuff, or is there a lot of detective work and things like that being done?
I'd say it's a nice balance between the two. It's definitely not as combat heavy as Yakuza games are. Well, in the Yakuza games, there's random encounters with just like street thugs.
Yeah.
So you'll just be walking down the road, a gang of thugs will be like, "Hey, you," and they'll start on
They
you.
might be in baby diapers.
They might be. Well, no, you have to find them specifically.
Oh, that's a story
hidden
moment.
Away
Yeah.
in Yakuza Kiwami 2.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
But yeah, so like, it's in Judgment. There's not as many random encounters from what I can.
But they do
see.
happen then.
They do happen. There is combat in it. And the combat is definitely more acrobatic than Yakuza.
Yeah,
it really like you can
Spider-Man levels of
you can run up walls and like jump kick off the wall into someone's head.
There is a little flip in there as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Whereas Yakuza's more like brawling with people.
Yeah. Okay.
This is very kind of dexterous and like there's two fighting styles you can pick. One's like more crowd control.
Tiger
so
and Crane.
Yeah, so that's it. So the Crane's like a lot more like, as you can imagine, wingspan-y kind of.
Crowd
a lot of
control.
long flips, clotheslines and stuff.
Can you do anything anywhere close to that crossbody thing from the Warriors?
You can do that off a wall with a bike in your hand.
I'll take
Fair
it.
enough,
I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take
there's
it.
lots of crazy stuff you can do.
So tell me, when does that sort of happen though? Is it open world in the way that we know it, or is it how is the like structure of the game laid out? Is it like you need to go to the map marker to take the next mission, or how does it work?
It depends. Like at certain points in the game, you'll come across like story beats where the game will lock you down a path. It literally like you can't go down certain streets and stuff like that. And because it's like a big open area, it's not big, but it's dense. More so the map in Judgment, which is the same as Yakuza. So it's not the massive area, but it's full of stuff to do.
Yep.
And story beats, you can follow the map markers, or you can just like, if it lets you, you can go about, walk around, go to the arcade, go to the cafe, go play some like golf.
So you feel like you've got some freedom when it comes to like you can just go out and do stuff. You're not like locked down this story. It's not just constant back alleys fighting and detective work.
Very rarely does it lock you into doing story stuff.
Okay.
It does give you a lot of freedom to like you can take it at your own pace.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. How do you find it like in terms of picking it up from where you left off and stuff, Jake? Like you find it easy to dip in and out of?
I think so, yeah. But I'm making a very conscious effort to like stop at key points so I can remember stuff. And
pretty story heavy then.
It is. It really is. It's like it's still very cheesy. Like it's not like written like Sopranos, but there's like intrigue there. There really is. You feel like the game has been written around the story rather than get a good gameplay loop and then write first. I don't know if it's based on like a book or something, but it's certainly based on an original story first. And you can kind of tell because like I feel like how it's set out is almost like some sort of like Netflix original level of writing. But I'm finding it pretty easy to pick up. I haven't once had to look at like my case file to remind myself what happened. You spend quite a long time trying to solve this first murder, so you really do, and it's quite memorable how the guy was killed. So you go, okay, and where things were, like where the body was found and stuff like that. They're all quite nice and memorable. So because of that, you don't really struggle. Getting used to the different names is like, because there's all these different families of Yakuza, and then there's like ex-Yakuza members. So like trying to remember the names at first, it's like, like when you first get into Game of Thrones, who's the Baratheons, who's the Targaryens. It's a bit like that to the uninitiated. I'm like, oh, hang on, who's this guy? Like the name dropping guys once, and I guess if you're playing it through in one sitting, it makes sense. But that's the only thing I've struggled picking things up with. I'm having to like get my phone out and have a look. My phone in the game.
Well, talking to the uninitiated, I mean, Yakuza 0, which came out a couple of years ago, right? So then a lot of people saw that. It had a lot of attention in the West, a lot of YouTubers and stuff banging on about it, saying it was pretty good, saying they'd never played any Yakuza games before. So Yakuza 0 was a good entry point for a lot of people coming into the series. Because it's quite difficult to get into the Yakuza games because there are, there's a lot of them, but there's like, it's one of these games where there's like Kiwami and Zero, and there's main numbered ones and whatever. So it's quite difficult to just come in. Yeah. So how would you rate Judgment as an entry point to the series?
I'd say it's a very good entry point because it's a completely standalone story from the Yakuza main series. And as far as I can tell, I haven't encountered any plot elements that would link to Yakuza or anything.
Yeah.
Because for me, I found that it's similar to Yakuza, but at the same time very different, which I know sounds a bit stupid. But if you've played the Yakuza game before, you'll notice a lot of familiar elements, but at the same time, it's introduced so many new elements that it does feel like its own fresh take on the
Well, I mean,
the series.
The detective work sounds like a key thing that you guys have both talked a lot about that so far. So it sounds like that there's this whole core of a theme to build around. So Jake, I mean, how do you probably feel a little bit different, I guess, or how do you feel as a you got a different perspective on the series to Liam? So
I took a couple of runs at trying to get into Yakuza. My favourite time really was watching Liam playing it once.
Right,
it was just him beating people up in a public toilet.
Sure, yeah.
Again,
I mean, I can imagine
Yakuza.
that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when he's doing it in such a
And then we
relaxed
stop
manner.
for a bit.
He's like saying stuff like, "He's getting away. I'm just going to put his face in the urinal." And he smashes his face. Off
I remember the
trunks.
look on your face as well. That was great.
He's
That was the
bit of an
best part.
Ip Man vibes.
At one point, a guy jumped through a window and
Threw him
Liam
back.
kicked him right back out that window.
Yeah. Well, just like Hitman. I mean, I feel like
And then
Liam's
we
fighting
went for a
style
bit
would
of
be like
karaoke
Hitman.
after it.
Yeah,
It was
and then we unwound with a bit of karaoke. So this is like, it's still got that silliness. So there's like, for example, there's a part where you've got to try and get into a building and there's a bit of a security issue because it's the Yakuza headquarters.
Sure, yeah.
So you fly a drone that's disguised as a pigeon, do a little bit of retcon. You think, and then with like a dialogue tree, but you decide that you could go through the window, but what would be a really good idea would be
Do you mean recon?
Yeah, that's
retcon
it.
something
Yeah,
else,
that's
isn't
right. Recon. Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, it's because of the Yakuza Judgement thing, innit? It's like now I'm the bottom feeder. So I could have got through the window to get into this Yakuza like hive, but instead the game says, "Nah, put a disguise on."
Yeah,
So you
I
dress
agree.
up as a handyman, and then there's a quick time event where you have to beat the shit out of a generator to.
What?
Beat the shit out of a generator, which is like an aircon unit. So the building's freezing cold, so they get it.
They have to call
so
a
they call a
repairman.
repairman.
Do you know what's fascinating about that? You didn't say you have to disable the generator. You said you have to beat the shit out of it.
You do.
You do,
So do you manually have to button
press
bash?
square. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
It's quick time events. Press square at the right time,
okay.
but it puts a lot of gravitas into this, and you're uppercutting and kneeing a generator. You're punching it till it breaks.
So
It's
if it was
silly.
if it was Hitman, it'd be really low key, like hold X for a few seconds,
Yeah.
and it would be like.
Whereas this, the music ramps
Yeah.
up and it's like press square, and it's so goofy, but it's so enjoyable. And I've got to tell you, like, it's very original. Like, it's not original at all, I guess, if you've played Yakuza, because stuff like that is so fresh to the system.
People have beat the shit out of all kinds of generators.
In
they've done
previous
it, they've seen it all
installments,
before.
the Tojo clan, they love it. But for me, it's like it's got enough newness and enough like intrigue to pull me in.
Yeah.
But then it's got all these goofy elements. Like I'm almost overlooking them because it's something that Liam always says, and like other Yakuza fans always say it. It manages to like balance like this really serious, weird melodrama with goofy shit like pigeon drones and beating generators up so everyone's freezing.
You know when you say it balances it, do you notice it when it's happening? Do you notice like this is a massive tonal shift that I've just seen? do you register that, or do you only think about that like right now, like on reflection? There's mad stuff and serious
it's
stuff.
weird because the only way to describe it is like it gets you into a susceptible state where you just roll.
You're in with it. You're into it.
You are
yeah.
like
That is
like,
honestly how
like
it works.
If the guy said to me like, Yagami-san, you can't climb through the window. You've got to dress up like a clown and deliver some pies. I'd be like, yep. Do you know what I mean?
Makes
and
sense.
the fact that it gets me into that state is a feat in itself.
Yeah.
But I've got to tell you, like, it's one of the only games now that I'm looking forward to finding out what happens next. Like in a way that a TV show does, but it's very much a game. It's really, really very interesting, and I'm going to try and finish it before it comes out so I can talk about it properly.
Very
maybe
cool.
in a podcast or something. So,
Very cool. So that's Judgment. It's part of the Yakuza series, some sort of spin-off type thing. It's out on PS4 worldwide on June the 25th. Those are the impressions of the first 8 hours.
yeah,
or so.
chapter one.
Chapter 1, which is completely in adherence to the embargo. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone for watching and for listening. If you're looking forward to Judgment, I was going to call it Yakuza again. Let us know down in the comments.
give a shit.
Are you a big Yakuza fan? Tell us what you think about this new sort of detective angle that they're taking with this one. Be interested to see what you got to say. If you're a Patreon, we've got a bonus Patreon podcast that we've just recorded, so check that out over on our Patreon page. Thank you very much. See you next time.